But what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of check in with you and get some feedback because we're at a good point for me to totally change course if you felt like that was necessary. So I wanted to get some feedback from you on how the modules are going and how the like class structure has been treating you, working off the Thinkific platform, having each module broken down into the lessons, having the modules be inaccessible until you complete certain things like your quizzes and things like that. What's your feel on the class structure and everything so far?
I really like it. Like I like how you can't access the next things until you finish the things you're supposed to do, which I mean that's just good practice. That's how you get people to do homework and keep people accountable.
Yeah.
Um, and then the assignments, I actually do appreciate the assignments. Like they don't feel like too hard, and they also don't feel like stupid easy. Because like I am like, oh, like wait, what was the thing? Like or whatever the question was. So I do appreciate that too, because I feel like unfortunately right now with like a lot of witchy type of programs that are out there, they're very like, oh, I don't know, like too basic, right? So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that it's not. And then in like the actual class wise, I like our setup. Like the chat's perfect, and I like that I don't have to like be on camera, but like I'm still there. Like I
Yeah.
make it a whole thing. Like I'm like even though you can't see, I'm like at my desk, I got my tea ready, I got my like little notebook, like I'm
Yes.
doing the whole thing.
Like it's class time.
Yeah, like I'm in class, like I'm like online class time.
Yes, I love that.
So I do appreciate that. Um, but yeah, honestly, I've been really enjoying it so far, and I think that I was wondering how the 2 week thing was gonna play out. I
Mhm.
was like, is it gonna feel too long? Is it gonna feel like too short? But honestly, it feels great. Like every other week meeting, it feels very doable.
Yeah.
Um, and it doesn't feel like too far out in advance, like in the moment. So I
Yeah.
have appreciated that too. So yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, really, really good. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear, especially about the webinar format not being on video, being something that you like, because I was concerned about that. I was like, are people not going to like that it's not like a live Zoom, where they can like chat and talk and things like that. But I always get mixed reviews about that
Yeah,
type
that's
of
always
class.
weird.
And some people are like, oh, I don't really want to be on camera. I don't really want to feel the pressure. And that will discourage them from coming in live. They'll just wait for the replay and watch it later. Whereas other people are like, no, but I really want to be able to talk. So I was really glad that the webinar format gives the option, allows you to chat, but not have to be on camera. You can be in your PJs, you can be like on the
Yeah.
road, you can
It
be
look
whatever.
crazy, like in my
Yeah,
room.
tuning in. So, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that even though it's set up that way, that doesn't make you take it less seriously. That it's still like, okay, this is class time, it's happening at this time, it's going to be live, and I can participate. So that's cool.
And honestly, from what it sounds like, it seems like everybody else is treating it the same. Because like
Mhm.
I can only speak for myself in that area, but it sounds like everybody else like puts in the effort to show up right.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, people
Yeah.
will be like, "I gotta leave early, sorry." So they're like
Yeah.
really into it, which is really good. And how do you feel about, well, first of all, also the 2 weeks, I'm glad to hear that that's working well for you. I feel like if there wasn't homework or anything to do in between, then the 2 weeks might feel like too long.
It
So
would.
like if I did shorter modules, I would cut them up shorter and meet every week, and then there wouldn't be homework. That would be another
Hmm.
way to do it, but that I feel like in a weird way is more time consuming because the
Yeah.
homework can be done whenever you have the time in between the 2 weeks. So my hope is that that would create greater flexibility for people, but also keep you kind of engaged in the topic in the 2 weeks that go between. And then how do you feel about the coaching sessions being not mandatory?
Oh, and then that was like the other thing I wanted to add. I think having the coaching session too, and I try to plan it out to have it like in the week that there isn't.
Yeah.
module. So then even that way, I'm still connected to the program, whether it's like the module check-in.
Yeah.
And it being optional, I also appreciate because everybody's different ultimately, and like some people like one module for them was probably more so review, but for somebody else, like everything that they just learned was new.
Mm-hmm.
So this person may not need a coaching session that week, but this person does. And then next week it's vice versa. Um, which I think is very helpful. Like that's why I didn't do a coaching session for the wheel of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel pretty good on that. I didn't really have any questions. I kind of had that down.
Yeah.
So it gave me an opportunity to like have a break. And because it's optional, I didn't feel like, oh, I have to do this like unnecessary meeting, even though I feel
Right.
pretty, I could
Yeah.
just opt out, but I could show up again right now.
Yeah. And then
I
if
like
you
that.
Yeah, okay, good, good. And then if you don't have a coaching session, but you do have like one little question or something you don't feel like you need a whole session for, the discussion board for the lessons are there. So you could always like just write in a question. And then I try to give feedback on the homework when I approve of the homework. So I think I had some notes in my email when I approved your Wheel of the Year on things that I thought were really cool about how you set yours up and stuff like that. So I'm glad to hear that all of that is enough, that it's engaging and that it's keeping a good flow for you. And we'll continue on. Our next module will be next week, Wednesday. So ask you, I guess I'll start with that. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how the program has been going for you so far?
For me, I feel like it's going smooth. Like you definitely you ha- you've helped me see me.
Mm,
You've helped me find me, and that was the one of the main things that I was looking for. I mean, it's you definitely take your time with me, and I appreciate that. Like I don't get that too often, so that was amazing. But you're gonna make me cry.
You're gonna make me cry. Oh, oh, I love
So
that.
that's like a major thing for me because you're understanding and you listen.
Yeah,
So that's
that means a lot. That means a lot to me. I feel like as witches, if there's one thing that unites us is we're the weird ones. We are the ones that have always been different in our families or even in our own friend groups, at work, in school. We are the ones that are different. And that can be very lonely. And it
it
can
is.
be, very isolating. And I know that feeling myself growing up in the hood, in a Christian family, really feeling like there was nobody like me. And then the internet comes along and I'm looking and I don't see anybody that looks like me or that has a lifestyle like me or grew up like I did or has some of the limitations that I had. And it really, really means a lot for me to know that my experience and the space that I'm creating can make people feel welcome and seen. Um, that's what matters for me. And I think that that's a really big part of what being a better witch is. It's having that support and knowing that you're not by yourself and the things that you're interested in, the things you want to talk about, the things that you want to implement in your life. You might not see it in your friends or your family, but there are people out here that are trying to make similar changes in their lives and tap into their power in a certain way as well. So that means a lot to me that we can be like your community and a space for you to feel seen and be yourself.
Like I really look forward to like the classes and even if I'm late, just going back, listening.
Yeah, I love that.
I feel
How do
like
you
I
feel?
feel like it's mine. Like
Oh,
that's the only thing that I have that's mine. Like
yeah,
being in there with y'all.
I like that. That it's your space, it's time that you carve out for you to work on
Yeah.
yourself, work on your own craft, and it's, you know, it's really not for anybody else. It's your own journey. Um, I really love that for you. And what that tells me is that even though it's a program where other witches are participating, it's not something where you feel like you're competing with the other
Right,
students for like your
exactly.
time or anything like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you feel about the pace of everything, meeting every 2 weeks and the length of our classes? Sometimes classes can go kind of long. Sometimes they're, you know, I try to keep them to 2 hours, but sometimes it's like 2.5, things like that. How has the
But
workload and the pace been?
like I said, the time, it doesn't even matter. Like the time and the pace is fine. If it goes longer, it's better.
Yeah.
As long as you don't cut it short.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Good. And what about how do you feel about homework? Is it challenging enough? Do you feel like it's too easy, too difficult, takes too long?
No, I mean, I don't feel like I don't feel like it's too easy, but I don't feel like it's too challenging. I feel like I feel like you know the pace that you need us to be at. So you give us something that at the pace that you know where we should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're not giving us something too advanced or something too mediocre where it's like, oh, I can do this without thinking about it. You give it to us where it's like, okay, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna make you think about it, but I'm not gonna make you think to where you don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want it to be overwhelming. I want it to be accessible to everybody, but I want it to feel like at the end of the homework, you have learned something or you have taken on a new challenge or processed more information. So obviously, we still have another month together. But 5 months into it, how would you say your craft has changed in that time?
I've, I'm not gonna say my craft has really changed, but as far as me myself, I'm finding myself before I touch on like moving forward to the more in depth of the craft itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
Because
does.
I had to find me first, and that's what you've helped me do. So
Mhm. I love that. Start recording. Okay.
Yeah, so
All
I
right.
mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, you're fine, but thus far, I just feel like you did a really good job at setting things in an order that not only flows well, but makes sense for the next subsequent thing.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of us come in with preconceived notions about what a witch lifestyle is, about what a magical lifestyle is, and you really broke it down to what it means fundamentally to be a witch, right? To be a philosopher and a scholar of the seen and unseen world in a way that everybody is aware of, but not everyone is daring enough to, face head on and do something with. It was beautiful. One of your first things was breaking down who and what I am in that larger cosmic sense. And after you go headfirst into the abyss, everything else is smaller. Because it's like excuse me, you decompress and you break down these like convoluted notions of, like you said, like the sticky notes, and like you give yourself a clean slate that you didn't even know you had. Like, I didn't even know I had a slate to clean up. I thought that this was just the bundle, the package, all the time. And no, God, no, not even close. And it was just beautiful. It was a great combination, I think, of academics and philosophy. And right where you felt like, okay, I think I have enough, I think I have this, you either completed what was missing or you invited us to be practical, right where the theory was getting to be a little much, right? So I think that it's also nice for us to understand, yes, theory before practice, but also practice is what it's about. It's just that you need the background first. So it didn't feel like you were like, I'm going to teach a spell eventually, I promise. And like it's 20 classes. No, but it's also just like you thought that you're going to walk into class, I'm going to put a broom and a cauldron in your hand and say, go. Like, this is not,
Right.
That's how the little kids in Hogwarts be blowing shit up in class. Like, so I feel like I just feel like the structure was fantastic. The intention was clear. Think it, feel it, believe it, live it, and then that's how you become it. And I think that it being the better witch, right? I think you just did a great job with that. The flow was awesome. And of course, towards the end, especially like the last 4 modules or so, they become that much more exciting because you feel like, especially after you break the halfway point, like, okay, we're done with all the 101s. We're done with all the, like,
Now
okay,
it's time for the
let's get
fun
to the
stuff.
nitty-gritty, and then even so correcting us, because the fun stuff isn't just now we're gonna cast spells. It's like, but did you know there's 1,001 modalities for a spell? Did you know all the different whys for a spell? Did you know that half the time it doesn't even matter if you're religious or not? Because if you understand metaphysics and you understand like the spirituality as a science,
Yeah.
and they're both perfect standalones, but they're not mutually exclusive either. And all of these different combinations are just coming from what you are and who you are and where you stand. Girl, like I could talk about this forever, but I just think that I love that it was that trifecta, like I said, of academia, like just raw information, the philosophy and like the why of how to apply these things, and then also just the cold hard examples of, okay, now let's do the thing. I told you we're going to talk about it first, but now we talked about it enough. Now we get to do it and to compare. My favorite thing to do is to compare and to learn and to share. I am not the gatekeeping kind at all. Obviously, neither are you, especially in the way that you teach. But my favorite part is we get to post our stuff. We get to share our stuff. We get to be like, did you know, for example, I thought that most people, when they did moon work, mirrors were a big part of their work. I can't work without them. They're the base for my altars when I work
Opened
for
up
the
a whole
moon.
new
And
thing for me. I was like, wait a minute, mirror on the bottom. Wait a minute. Because I work with mirrors too, but I never thought to put it on the bottom. Yes, I'm running with that. Yeah.
And that not only lit me up, but it was also like I put a comment on that post. I was like, yeah, but it's a trade, because even when you think you're just casually sharing, hey, look what I did, you have no idea who's on the other side being like, oh wait, hold on, let me, what she said, let me, because I could do it, I could work with that. And that's community, that's growth, that is validity, that is acceptance, that's higher understanding. It's a true living embodiment of the things that we wish that we had all, once upon a time,
Right.
where we thought that there was maybe a little bit more to blowing out a birthday candle. And from that point to now, it's a lot of stumbling in the dark and tripping and falling. And now it's like, yo, you don't have to. Come on by. And not even in the way that it's like, hey, let me sell you something. No, it's like, this is a community space. Come by, talk, ask a question. We literally have free books. We have free events. Like, come be a witch where witches can be witches.
Yeah.